welcome. We are live in Nigeria, Benin City, Edo State. We are here to get a focus on what's happening, because this is where it is happening. By September 10, 2016, there's going to be a gubernatorial election in Edo State. And of course, you all know that that is a state that we are all looking at now in terms of seeing the outcome of the elections and how it will all go here. And Ben TV will be part of it, and of course, we're going to be showcasing what is going on at the moment. We are very privileged to be with the APC gubernatorial candidate, is Mr. Godwin Obaseki, and like we all used to know, or is being said across the media circle, that is the brain box of this administration as a president. So we are privileged to be live with him right here, and we're going to be talking to him in a moment. Just go away, we'll be right back. Most welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's nice meeting you.
Same here.
You're a very charming man here.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, to a lot of Nigerian diaspora who doesn't know you, they've probably seen your face here or there. But now that this is a real action time, can you tell me a bit about yourself and what you plan to do for the state that is better than what it is being done right now?
Okay, my name is Godwin Obaseki, as you know. I was born in Benin, went to schools here, my primary, secondary schools, and then went to University of Ibadan, worked in the financial services industry, took a master's from New York, came back to set up my company, you know, and it's grown to be one of the significant players on the Nigerian capital markets. Now, 10 years ago, I decided to take more interest in politics and public governance. That's when I ran into Governor Shomole, and concerned about what was going on in Edo State, we felt that, you know, we couldn't just sit aside and lament, that we should at least attempt to, you know, force change. And by the grace of God, 10 years after, the evidence is clear. Shomole was able to get into power, and we were able to destroy the myth that only a few people could control political power. We demystified the godfathers, took control of the state, re-established the concept of governance, of good governance, began to get government to work, began to build infrastructure, began to refurbish our school systems, and just create a new society. And that's the evidence you see. So for us today, the issue is, this guy is close to a decade, did nothing. I mean, essentially just left our people in penury. They want to come back. I mean, they're fighting back. They naturally will. That's what you expect in politics. So the decision, I mean, people need to make it simple. Do we want to continue with the change and developmental strides we've seen in the last 8 years? Or do we want to allow the guys who destroyed the system come back again? That's
Okay. I went through your manifesto, and I could show that it was very comprehensive. How will you be able to achieve 200,000 jobs within a span of 1 year?
No, I said within a first term of 4 years.
Okay.
But if you think about it, government policies drive economic growth, and which leads to creation of jobs. Specifically, what are the issues in Nigeria today, and what are the issues in Edo State? As a country, we consume a lot, right? We consume a lot of goods and a lot of services. But the bulk of what we consume, we do not produce. Now, with oil prices dropping significantly, we are being forced to produce. And that production has to occur in states that are well managed, states that are resourced, states that have a plan. And Edo wants to be one of those foremost states where production will occur. And the production will occur in areas like agriculture. We have already given out 150,000 hectares of land to about 8-9 commercial farmers. In fact, today, we're going to be doing the groundbreaking for one of such projects. And we anticipate that if you have five people working on a hectare, either driving tractors or clearing or maintaining the farms, 50,000 hectares alone gives you 250,000 jobs. That's agriculture alone. You may have heard, we co-invested or encouraged a company called Azura to build an electricity generating plant in Edo. Construction is going on now. By December next year, that plant will be complete. It's a front-runner project finance in Africa today. 450 megawatts of power, plus what we have there now, which is around 450 megawatts. That's 900 megawatts of power in one location. That is attracting a lot of interest, a lot of industry into this axis. There again, we expect that a lot of jobs will be created. Edo, Benin City, is a hub, it's a logistics hub because it's in the heart of the country. Road traffic from the west cannot go to the east without going through Edo. To the south without going through Edo. To the north, we must come to Edo. So Edo is a logistic hub, and we are talking to a lot of investors in the logistics business to take advantage of our location. We're building warehouses, distribution centers. That in itself again will create jobs. We're looking at job creation from many facets. Education, which is one of our core advantages. Today, parents are struggling paying school fees for their children abroad. Our strategy in terms of education is begin to clean up our educational system, build world-class institutions where rather than send your children to Kenya, to Ghana to go to school, they can come to Edo and for less get the same quality of education you're struggling to obtain from abroad. So we've thought through a very clear strategic plan on how to create jobs, and we believe that 200,000 jobs in 4 years is the minimum we should do.
Okay, we just realized that we are technically in recession in Nigeria as we speak now. How will that affect the fortune of your revenue, internally generated revenue in the state? And how are you going to get enough money to run the state now that the federal is not coming forward with a lot of money?
Yes, you see, that in itself creates an opportunity. Because what is the reason for the recession? Oil prices have dropped significantly, and that means we do not have access to enough foreign exchange to buy goods and services import goods and particularly goods into the country. Like I said, that gives us an opportunity because as we encourage companies to come in to start production, that increases government's revenues. If I put 200,000 people to work today and they pay as you earn, 10,000 naira a month or even 5,000 naira a month, you see the amount of tax revenues that will come into government. Yes, there will be a lag period, maybe a year, but after that lag, we're most likely to see tremendous economic growth.
Fantastic. We've seen a robust campaign done by organizations. I want to say kudos to you.
Thank you.
But none of this, we've seen issues of thuggery in the state. And the state of security calls for concern. So how do you intend to run an election in the next couple of weeks with a security tight environment?
Well, a few things that we need to do. Our opponents, unfortunately, don't have a message to sell because they don't have a history based on which they can campaign. So if you notice what they've done, they've been talking about, campaigning. It's been a campaign of calumny from them, of lies, of propaganda, of trying to whip up ethnic and religious sentiments, the kind of things that fan violence. We also have reports of them trying to import thugs from neighboring states. This, for them, is just, this is what they've been used to. But the fortune we have, the good luck we have, is that we've been going around churches, talking to people, preaching to them that we should have peace. We should not allow our young ones to be used for violence, for thuggery. And by the grace of God, Edo election is the only one for that day. And we hope that the federal security forces, the army, the police, and all the security agencies should be able to deploy enough resources to make sure that we have a peaceful election.
Okay. Edo has a large concentration of indigents from this state in Europe, most especially in Western Europe. And of course, this in terms will turn into a lot of remittances from that part of the world. What message will you be giving them now? Because we've had a lot of requests from our station and from our platform that we should come and ask you, what do you have in mind for them? Most especially people who want to either relocate back for business or want to invest in the state. Is that going to be a special arrangement or a special ministry that can take care of it? Returning residents, returning indigents of the state.
Thank you. Yes, you're right. We realized that diaspora, Edo diaspora remittances is in excess of our annual state budget. That's the power of Edo diaspora. We unfortunately haven't been able to do a European trip, but I did an American trip, to meet the Edo diaspora in the United States. And I was in 4 cities: Atlanta, Houston, New York, and Chicago. And yes, that is the vibes I got, and that's the reason I went there. Because if you have your nationals, your indigents who have so much capital to invest, your first line to attract investors should be them. Yes, what do they invest in? They're emotional about home, they want to come home, they want to invest in real estate. And so what we're doing is cleaning up the whole process, cleaning up our land administration process, trying to encourage structured investments in different areas, trying to strengthen our law and order system, the court system, so that when they come, unlike in the past, if you decide to invest in land, for instance, or in property, you have a system which is more transparent, where you don't have to buy land from 3 or 4 people, where your contractors are not driven away from site every day. You want to come and commence construction. In fact, what we are designing is creating communes, creating new environments, new mini cities, and allowing developers, large-scale developers, come in to build, and people, and then using all sorts of financial tools, creating mortgages and what have you, they can now invest in this, the sort of real estate they are used to.
New cities.
Yes. So we're designing new cities. We're going to be building new cities, building new communes, building new areas. In the areas of things like agriculture, for instance, we're having structured investments programs for them to come in and just invest directly, where a lot of the risk issues that they would have been bothered about would have been taken care of by us.
Okay, for you to have a very successful tenure, you need to look at the executive arm of government, which is the civil service. And of course, Edo State is predominantly civil service state. But it's very bureaucratic. You're going to have issues with them. How are you going to restructure your civil service to impact on what good governance is all about, and what you are bringing on the table for the people? How will you restructure your civil service?
Some points of clarification. Edo is not a civil service state.
Okay.
There are only about 60,000 civil servants in the state of 5 million people. Yes, the amount of money that the civil service or government spends monthly is significant in, it helps, it's significant in the local economy. Yes, but the point you've made is well taken. The key driver of the entire system in the civil service, fortunately, we have started that reform, because once we came in, we realized that the previous administration of Ibn had destroyed the civil service totally. They retired about 7,000 people, mostly very highly qualified people. And the reason they gave was that they wanted to save money. Meanwhile, you retired them, they went into the pension bill, you refused to pay pension and gratuity. So that created even a real morale dampener, even for those left in the civil service. And because they did not also hire, you have a very disjointed and, very badly structured civil service, where you have a few people who are aging, who are about to retire, and then you have a huge gap, so there's no knowledge transfer, which means that what we need to now do is to begin a massive training and retraining program for our civil servants. We also have plans to introduce technology, a lot of technology, so that in every office, every civil servant works with a computer. So their filing system, their all the things, information is all, it's all driven by technology. So what we see is, we see a huge disadvantage we want to try and convert into an advantage, where we train our civil servants, in addition hire another, additional people into the civil service, try and begin to move towards what we call e-governance. That way you'll get a lot more efficiency from your civil service.
Okay. All right, what are your chances for these elections? Are you very, very, very sure that you're going to get a ticket? You're going to win the election? Barring all unforeseen circumstances.
You've been around in Benin, and I guess, what's your feel? Don't you? I think for the feedback we're getting is that people can see that government finally is working again. That government over the last 8 years has been trying and has demonstrated that it is responsive to the people. That before now, the belief that the state was a poor state and therefore an excuse that government could not carry out the function of government, we have debunked that myth. So for the people of Edo, it's almost unanimous that they want to continue the good work which we started 8 years ago. Okay. And if you go around town, they say we do not want to go back to Egypt.
Okay, but your opposition has been preaching personalities win election, not incumbency. What do you say to that?
Well, what they fail to realize is that those personalities are discredited personalities. And therefore, discredited personalities cannot win elections in normal societies. And we are creating a normal society.
Okay, fantastic. I want you to give a message of hope to a lot of people who are Edo State indigenes, living in the diaspora, watching you right now, all across the globe on our platform. What would we like to be telling them right now, that message of hope, that there's still hope?
I tell you, and it's not because I'm contesting for office. The issue today is that we are it's like a plane on a runway. It stopped initially. It's now teetering, it's now ready to go. In a few months' time, you will see acceleration and then take off, and the sky will be the limit.
And we can take it to your words.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, the plans we have in place in Edo State today will see Edo witnessing tremendous economic growth and political stability.
Fantastic. Before we go, sir, what is the level of preparedness by INEC? Do you believe they can do a good job this time around?
I believe that because we are the only state having elections that day, INEC, I know, has enough national resources to pool to support, the election. So I'm optimistic that they will do the right thing.
Yeah, we wish to congratulate you in advance, because we know that we've been around, we've had people saying Obaseki is the way to go. So hopefully we'll be there with you on your day of inauguration.
Thank you. Thank you.
At the Government House.
I'm really grateful.
Thank you very much for giving us this honor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Viewers, it's been an interesting discourse with a man that is so much popular in Edo State. He's going for the gubernatorial slot, and of course we have a feel around town that is the way to go, because the state wants a kind of progress, and continuum is in governance. This is where we wrap up this segment. We'll be back on the other side.